Oh, they look at Smith & Wesson stock was selling at $25 in late 2007. So at $5 a share, it's got some room to grow.
Robin, I thank you for your call.
Thank you very much.
All right, ma'am.
Bye.
Terry in Texas, you're up next. Hello, Terry.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I would love to be able to sit down and pick Robert Chapman's brain for about 3 or 4 hours someday, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. I don't think I can afford his hourly rate, so I'll keep it down, hopefully, to one question, perhaps if I can squeeze in two. I know there's so many other callers. Mr. Chapman, what do you think about Martin Weiss? Do you know much about him, and what do you think about his investment philosophy?
Well, first of all, his father was a giant in the industry and very, very successful. And Martin has been successful as well. One of the things that I am at cross purposes with him with is one part of his organization will be saying one thing and another will be saying something else. And so it gets confusing. I don't like him loading up on U.S. Treasuries. I don't think it's a good thing to do in this environment. I think there's better things to do. He has a brokerage firm, and so they have a proclivity for wanting people to move and trade. So, generally he's been okay, but I have my differences with him.
And, okay, then I guess I've got one more question. Since the dollar enjoys economic hegemony across the world, I don't know if that's something you all have discussed that much or that often, but I was hoping maybe you could give a little synopsis on that, how they use oil in the same way, controlling the levers like on a puppet, contracting the supply and then increasing the supply, because are they was that done on purpose, and are they able to do that because of the fact that they know behind the scenes, much like with money, paper money, that there's unlimited supplies of oil out there? And so what is the sort of the strategy behind using oil in conjunction with money? And are the two definitely linked as far as the control mechanism?
There was a lot of question marks in there. Bob, did you track that?
Right, and I want to think, Rob, you take a shot at this first.
Well, I mean, oil is a cartel. I mean, it's unique in its structure on its own. I mean, I do know for a fact, that the thing that nobody's paying any attention to is while we are trying to save the banking institutes within the United States, China is running around acquiring vast natural resources from Venezuela to South Africa to Iran. It's spending a lot of cash on natural resources, buying up mining operations around the world. I mean, right now they pretty much. I think it's a pretty much a done deal with Rio Tinto. Don't you think, Bob?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so China is ultimately, just accept this fact. China will be our new master at some point in time, and not too far from now, I suspect.
And Terry, if you remember this run up to the $147 and some change a barrel for oil, if you notice, that was another great speculation that was going on just in the time that people were finding out that the subprime mortgages rolled into SIVs and CDOs and all this garbage that they floated worldwide. That was, I've got to say, when they did that, I was shocked that they had the temerity to do it, because a lot of the banks themselves were in on the hedging game, if you will, in the futures market. And then the stories, we talked a lot about it on this network, the stories started running rampant. All of a sudden, these going up to this escalation to the $147 mark, you were seeing everything and every excuse under the sun given for a rise in oil prices. There was a madman that was shooting at a pipeline in some remote third world country, or an imminent threat to a drilling rig in the Gulf of Mexico, or destabilization in the Middle East. Any excuse that they could to keep ramping these prices up. And that was a speculative bubble that they knew was going to pop. But I think they got out of it quicker than they wanted to, because the public at large went, what? I'm paying $4 and the banks are in on this deal? That disappeared rather quickly.
Oil nearly broke $50 today.
And it's going back up. But as many people have speculated, you're going to see oil settle in right around $50 to $70 a barrel, which is going to equate anywhere from, depending on taxes, folks, you may see $4 a gallon again. Depending.
Oh, you can guarantee that, because let me tell you what. I mean, what is Obama's main plan?
Carbon tax, caps.
Carbon tax, green.
Yep.
And people, when gas is $2, they don't want to hear about green cars. But when gas was at $4 a gallon,
yeah,
you had people running out buying those stupid little cars.
Oh. I know exactly what you're saying. Terry, was there anything we left untouched, or are you satisfied?
That's it. I guess we're going to have to wait for the resurgence of the clown car.
Thanks for your call, Terry. We'll break. We'll be right back. Yeah, I pulled up next to one of those on my motorcycle, and there was more mass and weight to my bike and my body than that little car. What was the thing called?
I don't know. I think it was called a smart car.
Smart car. That's what it was. Back. But here's a depressing thought for you. I was scrambling around the thoughts in my brain here during the break. You know, it's going to be shocking, gentlemen, when we look back at days like this that are going to look good. Do you remember when, yes, things were bad, but there were still some people working and people still had a semblance of being human and treating each other decently and whatever? We're going to look back here in a not-too-distant future, and these are going to be the good old days. Whew.
It's going to be a whole new world.
A brave new world.
And I'll tell you, don't let it get to you. Don't let the circumstances tear you down into the form of a beast. It's going to be very difficult not to, and there's a lot of things you're going to have to overlook. But there's going to be so many people, probably 1/3 of the population, in dire need. And you're going to help them as best you can. And it's coming. And all of the world that you've known since the Second World War is gone. Maybe lost forever. And it is going to be one nasty way of life.
And you say that we're going to win. What makes you say, I mean, you're former intelligence, counterintelligence. What makes you say that with certainty?
First of all, law enforcement and military, 90% of them will not act against the American people. And all the world is going to have the same fundamental problems that America has. Economic, financial, and revolutionary. So I don't see Argentina or Germany or China sending troops to the United States, because the minute they do, they're going to have an uprising in their own country. So I don't see foreign troops coming, and if they do, they may as well kiss their lives goodbye, because they're not going to survive. Any of them.
Well, and I can tell you...
No, wait a minute, John.
No,
we know today, it is widespread knowledge now, which we didn't have in the 60s and 70s, who's doing what to whom. We've got all these radio broadcasts going out every day, all over the world. We have these tapes that people are making, and we have newsletters, some of which talk about these things. And people are waking up everywhere. They know who the enemy is. Now, if they try to enforce upon people in different countries martial law or things that they want to enforce upon them, it's not going to work. And people know who is doing this to us this time around. And they're going to take them out and try them and hang them. And it's going to happen. And, you know, I want to tell you something. Every single broadcast that you do is monitored by the U.S. government, and they know we know this, and they know that we're telling the entire world